It was raining that afternoon, the kind of steady, silver rain that makes the whole city look like it's crying. On the side of a quiet rural road, a luxury car sat motionless, its headlights flickering weakly against the gray mist. Inside, Ariella Vance, the daughter of one of the wealthiest hotel tycoons in the country, sat gripping the steering wheel, her mascara smudged, her heart pounding louder than the rain. For the first time in her perfectly constructed life, she felt completely, devastatingly alone. She had just walked away from a world everyone else envied, a mansion filled with chandeliers, brand names, and cold smiles. Her engagement had collapsed in front of hundreds of guests when she discovered her fiancé had been cheating with her best friend. It was more than betrayal, it was humiliation carved into her soul. She drove until the city disappeared behind her, and now here she was, broken down, broken-hearted, in a place she didn't even recognize. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, redemption, and second chances, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Let's keep spreading stories that remind us love can be found in the most unexpected places. Ariella stared out into the rain, her phone dead, her designer shoes ruined, and her spirit teetering on the edge. Then, through the mist, came the faint rumble of an engine, not the sleek hum of luxury cars she was used to, but the rugged growl of an old pickup truck. It stopped beside her, and from it stepped a man, broad shoulders, oil-stained shirt, hands calloused from real work. His name was Noah Mercer, a local mechanic and single father to a 7-year-old girl named Sophie. Noah looked at Ariella with concern, not curiosity. He didn't see her wealth or her fame, just a young woman stranded in the rain. "Need some help?" he asked simply, his voice steady, kind, and a little tired, like someone who'd seen life's storms and learned to walk through them anyway. Ariella nodded, too shaken to speak. Within minutes, Noah had his tools out, his jacket off, and was bent over her car, trying to fix what she couldn't even name. As the rain eased, she watched him work, the quiet focus, the gentle patience. He didn't ask her for her name or where she came from, and that, strangely, was a relief. For once, she wasn't Ariella Vance the heiress. She was just someone who needed help. When the car sputtered back to life, she thanked him, fumbling to offer money, but he refused. "You can pay me by getting home safe," he said, with a smile that was half shy, half warm. It was the first smile that hadn't felt fake in weeks. But when she tried to drive away, her car stalled again, this time for good. Noah rubbed the back of his neck. "Engine's gone. I can tow it to my shop if you want. It's not far." And so, she followed him, a stranger, down winding country roads to a small, cozy auto shop that smelled of oil, coffee, and honest work. The sign read Mercer Auto Care, since 1988. It wasn't glamorous, but it felt alive. Inside, the walls were covered with old photos, hand-drawn pictures clearly made by a child, and a small potted plant trying its best to survive in the corner. While Noah examined her car, a small voice called from the office. "Daddy!" "Who's that?" A little girl with curly brown hair and bright hazel eyes peeked out, holding a crayon-stained drawing. Noah introduced her with quiet pride. "This is Sophie." Ariella smiled, kneeling to meet her gaze. "That's a beautiful drawing," she said softly. Sophie grinned, a gap-toothed smile that melted something frozen inside Ariella's heart. Over the next hour, Noah explained that her car would need a few days of repairs. With no hotels nearby, he hesitated before offering, "I've got a guest room at the house. It's small, but clean. You're welcome to stay." Ariella, desperate and exhausted, accepted. She didn't realize it then, but that decision, that single moment of trust, would change everything. The Mercer home was humble but full of warmth. The walls carried laughter, memories, and the faint scent of apple pie. There were little signs of love everywhere: Sophie's drawings taped to the fridge, mismatched mugs on the counter, a blanket draped over a worn couch. It was the opposite of the marble and gold Ariella grew up with, and somehow, it felt more like home than any mansion ever had. At first, she struggled. Her heels sank into the muddy yard, she couldn't figure out how to use a coffee maker that wasn't imported from Italy. But Noah never laughed at her mistakes. He just smiled quietly and showed her how things worked: how to stack firewood, how to patch a small tire, how to make pancakes the way Sophie liked them. In those small, ordinary moments, something extraordinary began to bloom, a quiet connection built on kindness, not wealth. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the world in shades of gold, Ariella sat on the porch watching Sophie chase fireflies. Noah joined her, sitting a respectful distance away. You don't seem like the kind of woman who'd end up here, he said gently. Ariella laughed, a soft, sad laugh. Neither do I, she replied. And then, for the first time, she told someone the truth about her father's empire, her fiancé's betrayal, her constant feeling of being loved for what she had, never who she was. Noah didn't say much. He just listened, his eyes reflecting quiet empathy. When she finished, he said, sometimes life breaks us just to rebuild us stronger. I know that feeling. Ariella looked at him, curious. Noah's story unfolded slowly, how his wife had passed away when Sophie was 2, how he'd nearly lost everything, how he'd learned to raise a daughter while running a business alone. People think strength means never breaking, he said, staring at the horizon. But real strength is getting back up after you've fallen apart. Those words stayed with Ariella. Over the next days, she found herself helping around the shop, sweeping floors, fetching tools, laughing with Sophie, and realizing how good it felt to matter, not for her name, but for her presence. The locals started recognizing her not as the heiress, but as the nice girl helping out at Mercer's. For the first time, she felt invisible in the best way possible, free, but just as she began to find peace, her past came crashing back. Her father's private investigator tracked her down, his sleek car gleaming in front of the dusty garage. Miss Vance, your father's been worried sick. You can't just disappear, he said sharply. Noah stood nearby, silent, protective. Ariella felt her two worlds collide, the glittering, hollow life she had run from, and the raw, simple one she had grown to love. That night, she sat in her room, torn. Her father's voice echoed in her mind, you have responsibilities, Ariella. Our name, our legacy. But then she heard Sophie's laughter downstairs, and Noah's soft hum as he cleaned up the kitchen. Her heart ached with the weight of choice, duty or happiness, expectation or truth. She tried to leave early the next morning. Noah found her standing by her car, eyes red, suitcase in hand. So, that's it, he asked quietly. You're going back? Ariella swallowed hard. It's not that simple, she whispered. He nodded. It never is. She expected him to stop her, but he didn't. He just said, if you ever need a place where you can just be yourself, you know where to find us. Driving away from that small town felt like losing a piece of herself. Back in her world of penthouses and board meetings, everything looked the same, but she wasn't. The laughter felt louder, the smiles faker, and every mirror reflected someone she no longer recognized. Weeks passed. Her father tried to arrange another business engagement for her. Tabloids speculated about her disappearance. But at night, she dreamed of a little girl with fireflies in her hands and a man whose smile had healed her heart. She realized that real love wasn't about perfection or power. It was about peace. One crisp autumn morning, Ariella made a choice. She sold her shares in her father's company and started a foundation for single parents, inspired by Noah's struggle. Then, without announcing it to anyone, she drove back to the small town that had once saved her spirit. Noah was in his garage, covered in grease, when he saw her car pull in. For a moment, he froze, afraid it was just another dream. Ariella stepped out, her hair tied back, wearing jeans and a simple white shirt. Engine trouble again, he teased softly. She smiled, eyes glistening. Maybe. But this time, I think I'm the one who needs fixing. Sophie came running out, shouting her name with pure joy. Ariella knelt, hugging her tightly as tears filled her eyes. Noah watched, and in that moment, words weren't needed. Some things were spoken only by the heart. That night, they sat under the stars, the world around them quiet and gentle. Ariella took a deep breath. I used to think love was about being chosen, she said. Now I know it's about choosing to stay, to care, to rebuild. Noah reached for her